Follow your guiding star. You got to follow your guiding star. Come from near, you come from far. You got to follow your guiding star. The gift of life is within the mind, but only those who seek will find peace, love, and harmony. Go on, spread the word universally.
Welcome back. You know, this is a very exciting moment for me because a couple of weekends ago I went to this fantastic concert. And then John Flandrick, my colleague who is here with me, had decided that it might be a fun thing to see if maybe we could talk to this great rock star on our program. So, John, you take it from here.
Well, great reggae star.
I
perhaps.
see.
But hello, Pato, are you there?
Hi, guys. Yes, I'm here.
Thank you so much for calling in. It's a true honor. And I want to get this show started off and pointed in the right direction. So I want to say namaste, my brother. How are you this morning?
Namaste.
So
this is Pato Banton, and Pato, believe it or not, he has a bio that and a discography that's longer than anybody's arm. But suffice to say, Grammy-nominated Best Reggae Album, Life is a Miracle, which is a fantastic album. And so many credits to his name, just to outline a few. This is, I guess everybody knows, Pato and Roger go talk, and then ranking Roger and his redo of that situation of the special beat, the UB40 album, the collaboration with Sting. How many albums that actually sold millions and millions of copies. Pato is here in Santa Barbara doing a reggae cruise, which is sold out, unfortunately, if you're listening, dear listener, but there's other reggae cruises that are coming up that Pato's doing all over California area, so you can maybe go to his website and find out about that. But you know, what's fascinating to me is looking into this great gentleman's history. I discovered something, and I discovered an interesting, attachment or collaboration between the deeply spiritual that Pato has given the world.
a man who brings light.
A man who
places
brings
that
light,
need it,
yes.
I think is what I...
And also the idea that he's a great musician. And I wanted to ask him about this. I have a specific quote, Pato, that I'd like for you to elaborate on for our listeners. And this is a quote that I think you'll recognize. If Adam and Eve had only survived, then would you have had music in reality? But the gift of harmony, so large in their natures, has been so diluted by strains of unmusical tendencies that only once in 1,000 mortal lives is there any great appreciation of harmonics. But be not discouraged. Someday a real musician may appear on Urantia, and the whole peoples will be enthralled by the magnificent strains of his melodies. One such human being could forever change the course of a whole nation, even the entire civilized world. It is literally true. Melody has a power, a whole world to transform. Forever, music will remain the universal language of men, angels, and spirits. Harmony is the speech of Havona. So tell us about that, Pato.
Wow. Wow. Well, this is a quote taken from the Urantia book. And I believe this quote was written by a celestial being. And basically, it's telling us that, the speech of harmony is not only important in human civilization, but it's actually the language of, our celestial family outside of our world. And that it's important, and that the more harmonious we become within ourselves as a civilization, is the more harmonious our music will become, and that, we have the ability through music to change the world,
I actually, there's been many civilizations that actually looked at harmonics as one of the highest sciences, and I'm wondering if this is part of your gift as a musician. In other words, are you specifically, because you're such a wonderful musician and songwriter, are you specifically attuned to this harmonics in spirituality?
Well, I know from personal experience that, my desire is to be in harmony with spiritual forces, with spiritual reality. And I know that affects me and those around me on a personal level. It affects me because it allows me to be more receptive. And as I receive, my only desire is to give.
How beautiful! So your job as a musician is to bring that forth.
Yes, is to not only as a musician, I think, because as a musician only, your only concern is to bring music to the people. But as a musician with a spiritual mission, with an intention to be of service on a spiritual level to people's deeper needs, to want to inspire people, to want to move people beyond their intellect, but to actually touch them on a soul level, then it becomes more than just playing music. It becomes music with a message, music with a loving intention.
That comes through. That does come through in your work for sure. John, you had a question.
So I think, harmonics and the beauty of harmony is something that I've used as a musician because, there's harmony between the musicians playing their various notes together and the singers singing harmonies. But I think to take it to the next level of actually studying harmonics and delivering an intentional musical harmonics presentation is something that I think I want to go and do next.
Oh, I would be the first to attend that lecture for sure. Pato, you'll love this story. We had on this radio station, we have this huge theater organ in our one of our theaters here called the Arlington, and the theater organ goes back to the 1919, and it is 20 tons of instruments. In other words, the theater organ is connected to a real piano, a real drum set, a real clarinet, you just go on and on. Plus, there's the pipes. And it's one of 5 in the country that we just love. So we have these presentations on this organ. And they fly in these great organists from all over that just are dying to play this mighty Wurlitzer that we have here. We had on the program this gentleman who was a PhD physicist, and he was also a theater organ presenter.
Wow.
And he told us this story of being in a cathedral that was next to a high-rise building. And he was playing something, I think it was by Bach. I bet you remember this, Richard. And it's playing something, and all of a sudden, the fire department runs into the performance and says, "Stop, the building next door is swaying and moving. You've got to stop these harmonics." That happened.
Wow.
Yeah. So do you remember that, Richard? Do you remember when he was talking about?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, reverberating through the building.
Yes.
Yeah. Speaking of reverberations, a dear friend of mine who I actually trained back in Phoenix, who actually introduced me to reggae, and he had his own radio program called the Reggae Sound System, is on the line, and he actually had a chance to meet Pato's DJ. Didn't get to meet Pato, but he's going to meet him now. Dennis, welcome to Arts and Antiques.
Greetings, my brother. How's it going?
Very good, very good. Pato's on the line.
Hi, Dennis.
Yes, Rasta. What's going on, man?
Very
How
good.
you doing?
Great.
Now, Dennis,
Very cool.
Dennis, I'm curious, and Pato, I'd like you to elaborate on this too. What is it about the sound of reggae, the rhythm of reggae, the vibration of reggae that just compels you so, Dennis?
Well, it's really the offbeat, the downbeat, the one drop, and reggae has been called the heartbeat music because it relaxes you. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
The great Bob Marley said, if you play reggae too fast, it's not reggae.
And you, Pato? What is it about reggae that just compels you?
For me, reggae has always compelled me because of the message. You know, it was really the message of reggae music that compelled me. You know, I grew up listening to different styles of reggae. Of course, there was Bob Marley's style of reggae, which was more of a slower one-drop, laid-back, offbeat groove. But then you heard other people with great reggae music too, like Yellow Man, like Toots and the Maytals, you know, like Rankin Dread, you know, Third World.
Yabba You. How about Yabba You?
Yeah, Yabba You. You know, there's so many different types. And then after that, we have the long list of dancehall MCs as well that took it to a different level.
And Pato, I wanted to ask you about the title on that album, the 2008 album Destination Paradise, because I understand I was researching a little bit about the Urantia papers. The chapter, what is it now? Chapter 10 is the Paradise Trinity. And I wondered if the concept of paradise was sort of wound through that album for you.
Yes. It was a conceptual album. It was an album that was really to remind people that, you know, we come from paradise. We come from God, you know. God lives in paradise. That's where we came from. A lot of people think we come from this planet, but we don't come from here, you know. Our physical nature, our human body, is definitely a part of this earth. But on a personal level, our personality is a gift from God that we get when we take our first breath. And once we leave this world, we are on our way towards paradise. You know, we have to take some steps to get there, a lot of steps to get there, but we are on our way there. But we are taught that we are supposed to have heaven on earth. We are supposed to be living as though we're already standing right in the presence of God and paradise. And we need to stop seeing this, that even though paradise may be the furthest thing away from us, and God is the furthest thing away from us, God also dwells within our minds, which is the closest thing to us.
I have one quick question, if I may ask.
Yes.
Of actually both Dennis as well as you, before we go to break here, what role, if any, because it seems like it always comes up with a lot of people when you talk about reggae music and Bob Marley, what role does ganja play in all of this?
Well, if I may say something, ganja has always relaxed me and made me sight up Jah.
And how about you, Pato?
I think that, you know, my personal experience with marijuana, ganja, is that it has always been a relaxer for me. It always has given me a deeper reflection and allowed me to be more thoughtful. But I don't think it affects us on a spiritual level. I think it just prepares us or relaxes us for more deeper reflection. I think spirituality can only be attained by prayer, meditation, and by doing the will of God in your daily life and serving your brothers and sisters. You know.
Thank you. And we'll be back with Pato in a quick minute. We'll go to a quick break. When I get back from the break with Pato, I want to talk to him about these words that are coming from him. If he actually is a mentor, and how we can hear more of these these wonderful words of this great musician. Think on that, Pato, if you will, for us. We'll go to a quick break. We'll be back with Pato Banton. I can't believe I'm speaking to this man, but I am.
Why?
Here comes the musical heat of the past.
Now our crew come get some sunshine.
Pato, we're back, and we have about 4 minutes. And there was something that I really wanted to find out about you. And my understanding is you reach out to the youth, and you work with children. And I think you've even been a kindergarten teacher. And I want to hear about what made you I think there were things that made you change in your life from being just a music guy to starting to reach out and work with children and change their lives. And I want to hear about your youth outreach and how you got to that point where you realized that's something that you wanted to do. So let us know.
Okay, well, it really started when I did a tour for Peter Gabriel's organization called WOMAD. And it was a world tour, and I was invited on the tour with my band, the Reggae Revolution. And one of the requests, and it wasn't a demand, it was a request, was that some of the artists on the tour would go to each country that we stopped in. They asked some of the artists if they would be willing to do outreach workshops for young, underprivileged youth. So we went to the Canary Islands, and I went into a youth prison and did a music workshop with the kids in the Canary Islands. Then we did music workshops in Singapore, Malaysia, Soweto in South Africa, with the Aborigines in Australia. And it was a really eye-opening experience for me to do things for people for no money, but just out of the love of wanting to be of service. And to see the reactions on these people's faces that normally wouldn't meet international artists, wouldn't meet musicians, on that level.
Yeah.
It was just a very beautiful thing. And then when I was on my way to America on this tour, and it was the same time that I received the news. During that tour, I received the news that I was nominated for a Grammy. And the Grammy department asked me if I would be, if they invited me, if I would be able to attend the ceremony. And just as I was contemplating all of that, I got a phone call from one of my family members in England, alerting me that two of my sons had been shot in a drive-by shooting. And so I just basically, I finished the tour and told the Grammy people that I couldn't attend. I had to get back home to take care of the situation. So I went back home. And I had already been getting visions and thoughts about stopping my career and doing something in education. I had no idea what it was. For a couple of years, I thought these visions was for me to go back to school because I never had any grades at school. I left school at the age of 15 and never went back to school or college. So there was always this little feeling within me that, I need to go back and complete my education, at least just for myself. So I had no idea that I would actually, be going back to become the head of a music department in a college and be writing curriculum for different children with learning disabilities.
And we have about 15 seconds before our show is over. I feel we need to have you back.
Oh, I'd love to. Pato, thank you so much for all the gifts you bring to this world, your music and your great spiritual insight. It's been wonderful